How unprecedented or weird or anomalous is it for this small board for the Republican commissioner to say, no, we're not certifying?
Well, notably, it's extremely rare. I mean, this is a board that performs a ministerial function of certifying the results. They have in every election in years past, even just this past August, certified the results, even with significant greater clerical errors. And so, it really is disheartening when you consider, obviously, that this is a majority Black city, the largest jurisdiction in the state of Michigan. And here are two individuals going far beyond their role to invalidate the votes of tens of thousands of African Americans in the state of Michigan. I
just want to be clear here. The two individuals here, William Hartman, who is a member of that board of canvassers, Monica Palmer, those are the two individuals there who are basically saying, nope, we will not sign off on this free and fair election in this state. It's not just them. I mean, this is the Michigan Republican chair, Laura Cox, saying, I am proud that due to the efforts of the Michigan GOP and the RNC under the leadership of Ronna McDaniel, enough evidence of irregularities and potential voter fraud was uncovered, resulting in the Wayne County Board of Canvassers refusing to certify their election results. This seems to be a top-to-bottom coordinated effort by the Republican state party in your state.
Yeah, not only that, it's not true. I mean, there were not irregularities or any indication of fraud that was discussed today. It was instead clerical errors that will now go to the Bureau of Elections, which falls under my office, to fully address, and we will. But there's no indication that any votes were wrongly tabulated or that any invalid votes existed or were tabulated. I mean, this is really just a clerical issue that will be resolved by the state, and nothing more than an attempt to misuse these roles to play partisan politics and cause confusion, which again is kind of, the norm that we've seen throughout this election.
So that was Chris Hayes on MSNBC interviewing Michigan's Secretary of State over the unprecedented and deeply troubling move by Republicans in Wayne County, Michigan, to effectively hold up the 2020 election results. That the Board of Canvassers there, the two Republicans on the committee, refused to certify results from Wayne County, which is the county that includes Detroit, the largest city in Michigan and one of the highest concentrations of African Americans in the entire state and indeed country. Well over 80% of the people in Detroit are Black. And so what they're basically saying is, we think that, the Trumpian conspiracy of a rigged election is real, and so we will only certify this county's election results if you exclude the 85% Black community of Detroit. And so what the Republicans are trying to do in Michigan right now, in the last couple hours, is throw out hundreds of thousands, potentially, Black votes, hundreds of thousands of Black votes. That's what they're trying to do. And this is an effort to steal the election and subvert the will of Michigan voters, and hopefully, this is what Trump people think, hopefully, steal the entire election. This is Trump lawyer Jenna Ellis tweeting about this situation, less than a couple hours ago. She says here, breaking, this evening, the County Board of Canvassers in Wayne County, Michigan, refused to certify the election results. If the state board follows suit, the Republican state legislature will select the electors. Huge win for @Donald Trump. Now, I want to be clear that is not necessarily the case, that it'll go to the state board of certification. This is what both Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitmer has said, but also a lot of Republicans in the state legislature in Michigan. It is not the intent of the Michigan rules to have the legislature override the will of the voters. And Biden won Michigan by nearly 150,000 votes, about 15 times bigger the margin of victory Donald Trump had in Michigan 4 years ago. Trump won Michigan by the skin of his teeth. Biden did 15 times better than Trump in terms of the divergence, and they're trying to claim that this election is invalid. That's what they're trying to do here. Now, again, local Republican legislators seem unwilling to do this. The governor is against it. The Secretary of State is against it. And Jenna Ellis either doesn't understand the procedure or she's trying to sow division and misinformation and confusion. But the point is less that it would work. The point is less that this will work. The point is less that this will be successful. And it's more that they're even trying. That Republicans in the White House and on the local level in various parts of the country are throwing away democracy. They are throwing away democracy. In particular, they are shredding the votes or trying to shred the votes of black people. That's what they're trying to do. They are trying to do an attack on black voters that has not been seen since the days of John Lewis and Martin Luther King and those civil rights icons. I am not exaggerating when they're basically trying to bring back Jim Crow. That's what they're trying to do here. They're going to let you vote. They're just going to throw out your votes after. This is what Lindsey Graham tried to do in Georgia when he said, why don't you just throw out every single mail-in vote in high-density areas? Why don't you do that? Of course, high-density areas in Georgia are disproportionately African-American. I don't know if there's any areas that are 85% African-American, but there are areas where African-Americans form at least a plurality of the precinct population. This is what they're trying to do. And so it's not about whether it will work. It's about the intent. And it's about the fact that if elections were closer and it came down to only one state and it was only a few thousand votes, maybe it would work. And maybe the systematic disenfranchisement of Democratic voters and of black voters would allow Republicans to steal this election. What you're seeing in Wayne County is an absolute travesty of democracy. And look, I hate saying anything nice about David Frum because he was a Bush-era ghoul, but he made a point, a few years ago now that really is resonant. And he said that when Republicans and conservatives in the United States start to see that they cannot win with their current slate of policy and ideology, they will not abandon those policies and ideology. They will abandon democracy. So the answer for them is not how can we actually appeal to voters so that we don't lose 7 of the last 8 elections in terms of popular vote. How do we appeal to voters so that our 50 senators don't take 44 million less votes than the 50 Democratic senators get? Why can't we win senators in high population states? The question for them is going to be, how can we stop people from voting in overwhelmingly minority and otherwise pro-democratic communities? This is an alarm bell because the next election, if it is close, the Republican Party will steal it, and it'll be done at all sorts of levels. They are enemies to democracy, and they should be treated as such.